Yo, how's it going everybody? This is Julian over at BOS Labs. So today we're looking at modeling a low poly 3D asset in Blender 3D. Blender is a free open source program used to create 3D assets for things like film, games, and VFX. As a graphic designer, I've used Blender to create product mockups, video graphics, even Instagram filters, and it has been a great tool for visualization. In this video, we'll be going over the workflow for modeling a low poly guitar amplifier stack by extruding, scaling, and duplicating simple shapes. Although this video will be easier to follow if you have a basic understanding of Blender, my goal with this video is to introduce and demo the workflow to give those unfamiliar with 3D modeling an idea of the process. We'll start with the default cube in object mode. Scale it on the X, Y, and Z axis to create a rectangle using the keyboard shortcut S, followed by X, Y, or Z. Add a cube by pressing Shift-A, Mesh Cube, and position it at the top of the rectangle. Use G on the keyboard to grab and reposition an object. Scale the cube on the X-axis to elongate it. This is going to be a handle. Press Tab to go into edit mode, and create two loop cuts by pressing Shift-R and scale them in the X-axis. Select the two outer faces and inset them using I on the keyboard. Apply scale by pressing Ctrl-A and clicking scale if the inset tool isn't working properly. Move the inset faces up on the Z-axis. Create two more loop cuts and scale them. Move them up on the Z-axis to create some space under the handle. Shift-A and add a circle. In the properties below, change the vertices to 8, resize it, and add a fill. This is a simplified screw head which we'll be using in multiple places. Scale it down and position it above the handle. In edit mode, extrude the faces up by pressing E on the keyboard and dragging up on the Z-axis, and scale them down a bit. Position the screw head on the end. Duplicate the screw head with Shift-D and reposition. Select the rectangle and inset the front face while in edit mode. Extrude the inset section inwards to create a lip. Add another cube and resize it into a rectangle. This is going to be our on-off switch and standby switch. Reposition the switch to sit on top of the inset section. Select the front face of the switch and inset and extrude it outwards. Add a loop cut to the center, and while in edge select mode, select the middle edge and move it inward, as well as the top edge. Duplicate the switch and position it. Select the screw head and duplicate it. Rotate using R on the keyboard and X to constrain it to the X axis. Position the screw head and resize it. Duplicate the screw head 3 times and reposition them. Duplicate one of the screw heads and position and scale it. These are going to be the knobs of the amplifier. Select the front faces of the knob while in edit mode, and bring them outwards on the Y-axis. While in edit mode and the knob selected, add a cube, scale, and rotate it. This is going to be a position indicator on the knob. Duplicate the knob 3 times and position them evenly spaced out. Duplicate the last knob and resize it. This is going to be the input jack on the amp. In edit mode, press L on the keyboard while the mouse pointer is hovering over the indicator. Press delete on the keyboard and click vertices. Select the center vertex and delete it, as well as the outer ring of vertices. Extrude and scale the outer ring of vertices to create the input jack. This is going to be the most challenging part of this model. With the inner ring selected, extrude once more, then merge the vertices to the center by pressing M on your keyboard and clicking at center. Press Shift A, then text to add some text. Align it to view and resize it. Set the alignment to center. Press Tab to go to edit mode and type in your new text. Extrude the text by going to Geometry, Extrude in the text menu. Under Font, change the font style. I used Lobster Regular in this example. In edit mode, select the bottom face of the amp head. Duplicate Shift D and make a separate object by pressing P on the keyboard and clicking selection. Extrude the created face down. Inset the front face like we did to the head of the amp to give a border. Extrude it and push inward. Add a loop cut to the center. Then select and push out the bottom faces. Duplicate the text from the amp head and position and rotate it to fit the speaker cab. I wasn't a fan of how chunky the handle was looking, so here I made it a little thinner. Well, there you have it, a low poly amp stack modeled in Blender. We started with a default cube, and through a series of edits done through moving, scaling, and rotating, plus some other simple shapes, we now have a 3D guitar amplifier. So we're done modeling our asset, but in order to use it in our work, a few more steps are necessary. Adding materials, which are the colors and textures of the 3D object, lighting, similar to how we need to light a model for a portrait, and rendering, or saving out our final image. If I included these steps in the video, we'd be here forever, so I've included a sped up version to end out the video. I know that I skipped over the absolute basics of Blender, but if this video piqued your interest in working with Blender, leave a comment below, and we'll put together a Blender basics video for the near future. So again, if you have any questions about what we talked about here today, hit us up in the comments below. We'll see you in the next one.